Hello, friends. Pastor Justin here, and good evening to you. I'm sitting here with Dusti Scovel. I'll rotate the camera around so you can see Dusti. Dusti is Executive Director, correct? Here at Mission Granbury. And can we get both of us in? Not quite, but that's okay. I'm trying to sort of respect
social distancing.
Yeah, social distance and respect Dusti's space here, but we'll just kind of move the computer back and forth. So Dusti, just to kind of tell you what we're doing here, as you know, this is a weird time for our world. And there are some things as church that we can still do, some things we can't do, some things we're doing differently. And so one of the ideas that was discussed was the possibility that this might be a good time for us to kind of learn more about our community. If we're stuck at home, we might as well learn and study and grow in that way. So our hope today was kind of to find out more about you and about Mission Granbury and the work that you do, and maybe to learn about how we can be involved too, and how we can support you in your work here. I want to start by saying this. I want our people to know that in addition to being obviously a very intelligent person, Dusti is, you have a piece about you that I appreciate.
Thank you.
This has been, the past couple of months have been challenging, obviously, in many ways. And right out of the gate in March, there was chaos, right? As we kind of tried to figure out together how to get the kids of Hood County fed, how to provide for the needs of our sisters and brothers in this community. And you were so calm, at least you seemed so calm.
I'm glad I seemed calm.
through that process.
It was a little scary there for a little bit.
Yes.
But it was because of people like you, that we were able to pull it off. It was pure chaos in the beginning. So.
Yes. Well, I really appreciated the way that you journeyed through that with calm and with an open heart and an open mind and an optimism. I think that as community, we could get this done together.
We had one mission, and I think we all had the same mission, and so that really helped. When we all got together.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Well, Dusti, before we talk about Mission Granbury, we would love to know you a little better. And can you just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you, who you are, where you've come from, and why you do this work?
Oh, gosh. Well, I guess, pardon me, I grew up in a children's home. So I think from the very beginning of time, I always knew that I wanted to help other people because I got a lot of help along the way. And I went to college. I went to Lubbock Christian, and then I went to Abilene Christian, and then Lubbock Christian, and then got married and had a couple of babies and went through that whole thing. I've been about 30 years in nonprofit since then, and I'm working with homeless communities, foster children, in another children's home down in the Hill Country, close to the one I grew up in, and then in an indigent health clinic. So I've kind of done a lot of different nonprofit work, and I've also done some corporate work, and I learned real quick that just wasn't my bag. When I go home at night, if I'm exhausted, I want to be exhausted for a good reason. So that, I think coming here to Mission Granbury was a God thing. I had been the CEO of an indigent health clinic for 7 years. Great work, but a lot of bureaucracy in the medical field. So when I retired, I was done. And then I heard about this job through another resident in Granbury, and we had been looking to move to Granbury at the time. So it just all kind of fell into place. The job became available. When they told me about it, I thought, that sounds great. It'll just be like 8 to 5. And, it's got a couple little programs because at the health clinic, I had 3 sites and I managed 40 people and doctors included, dental clinics. It was big and hard. So I thought, this will be a piece of cake. Oh, I was so clueless.
Well, ministry is 8 to 5 all the time,
Yes,
right?
yes. Well, that is sort of. It feels like it never ends, but the beauty is when you get those people that bring you the little notes from the children that are
Yes.
thanking you, and you hear from the woman who was in the shelter and now she has a job and is doing great and doesn't even associate with the old life that she
Yes.
had. You're doing something good.
Yes. Amen to that.
And this community is unbelievable. I mean, in my 30 years, I've never seen a community like Granbury, and that's I'm serious. That's the honest truth. When even now, when I'm putting out the call for macaroni and cheese, if I need 500 boxes and there are 470 in Granbury, I'm going to get all 470 and
somebody's going to drive to
from
Costco.
somewhere else.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So it's just an amazing community. So
Yes.
it makes giving back and helping people so much easier because the community is just so great.
We have some good folks around here, don't we?
We do.
Yeah.
In a nutshell, we had foster children ourselves. We adopted. My sister was ill when she was 38, so we adopted her children and raised them. And I have my husband. We've been married 44 years this year, and he's a sculptor and a painter. He did the sculpture at Memorial Lane Park here in Granbury of the dog and the little girl. So he's kind of a quiet, reclusive. He is a Vietnam veteran, and he definitely stays out of the limelight a lot. So people know what he did, but they don't really know. They wouldn't know him on the street. Yeah. He also does funny cartoon characters, and he does veterans memorials and Christian sculpture.
Wonderful.
So he has. So we've. We just bought a place about 3 years ago out on Lake Whitney, and it was an abandoned fishing lodge, and we've restored it. So we've spent the last 3 years. So on my off hours, I'm running a guest lodge.
Okay, wonderful.
Which my off hours are about this big.
Right, right.
So I feel like we're always doing. I feel like everything I do, it feels like I'm kind of serving. I love serving.
Yes.
I feel like I'm serving people.
There's a thread of hospitality through all of that. You obviously that's clear with the guest house, but it sounds like you really want people to feel at home in this community as well.
I think we want people to feel value. I want people to know that they have value and that we try to do everything we do at Mission Granbury with dignity, being at the very top of the list. So before they tell us they need their light bill paid or, they need clothes, that's a hard thing, especially now during COVID.
Yes. People
have never had to ask for help before. So we do a lot of training on cultural sensitivity, which includes poverty. A lot of us don't realize that it's great to help other people, but sometimes you need to understand what they're feeling, what they're going through. So we do a lot of training for that.
Very good.
Very good. So we want people to feel worthy.
Yes.
We're not really trying to our goal is really not to just pour, stuff out and let people take it. We really want to try to get a little deeper and help them get ahead. So in every one of our departments, our focus is helping them get on their feet and be productive and feel some self-worth.
Yes.
Because a lot of them don't. And it's become habitual for some people.
Right.
They just fall back into that.
Fostering sustainable change, empowering people. Yes, that's wonderful. Right. So, okay. Now, I ask this question cautiously because if I were to just say, tell us about Mission Granbury does so much that you could talk for an hour about that. So without doing that, give us just a high-level overview, maybe starting with why does Mission Granbury exist? What is the purpose of this organization? And then just tell us a little bit about what Mission Granbury does.
I think Mission Granbury was actually established a little over 20 years ago as a family violence center. So that's what its purpose was. It was established to provide a safe haven for women who were in abusive situations. And it just grew. Within 2 years, they added the CASA program. So that helped take care of the foster children. So now we're taking care of foster children and abused women and children and families. Then they got a couple of grants that wanted them to cover victims of sexual assault specifically. And then another grant that said, okay, let's take care of everyone that's been the victim of any kind of crime. So there's a very solid foundation of helping people who are victims of some kind of abuse or crime. From that stemmed a need for people. Granbury particularly did not have an emergency financial support system. The churches were doing that.
Sure.
So they started the emergency assistance network, and we started working with, or it was before my time, they started working with several area churches who said, we helped somebody and you helped them, and we don't know who's doing, we need to have more communication. So in the end, after a lot of different processes, several of the churches said, we will just donate to you on a monthly basis. And when people come to us and they need that kind of help, we'll send them to you. So we do that. And we put all of those funds into a fund called Congregational. And so when people come in and that started out as kind of a minor program, and it has grown into a pretty major program as our community has gotten larger and housing has become an issue. Homelessness has become an issue. So more and more of those people come to us for that. So that, I think, every time something happened and people said, where do I go for help? The obvious thing was to send them to Mission Granbury. So we're very in tune to gaps in services. When I came, homelessness was not even a discussion, really, because people didn't really recognize it as a problem. But as that population grew, more and more of them were sent here. So now not only do we have a population, but Mission Granbury is able to kind of track that and see when it's trending up and down. Our grants make us do a lot of tracking, a lot of trending. I mean, a lot of, they want to know what's going on, how we're using their money, obviously. So I think it's actually good for us because it identifies where the holes are. So Mission Granbury as a whole is really an organization, an agency that is, our whole purpose is to help serve the needs of the people where there are no other options. We keep a running list of jobs that are available, although we send people to Texas Workforce. We have on-site counselors and contracts with counselors, although we send people to CAC and to other available counseling in the community that's appropriate. So we work with a lot of other agencies. We have Toys for Tots for the overflow, but we are super strong supporters of Christmas for Children, and we send everybody there first. So we don't try to be the agency. We try to work with all the other agencies, but when something falls through the cracks, we try to pick that up. Very soon we're going to be taking over the Senior Connection, which this is a great example. They were a very, very small nonprofit that was run by Jerry Tidwell at the newspaper. He's retired, and the other lady that was helping him has retired. So they need someone to take on that. Well, we're the obvious choice for that because we already have utility support, rent support, and we have medication support and food pantry. So I'm not sure when the food pantry was introduced to Mission Granbury. Nobody really can say that. Everyone's asked, but nobody knows when they started it. They used to be in a little closet, I think, and then it grew, and then it just sort of morphed into a weekly distribution.
Okay. Somebody watching this will know the answer to that.
They will,
question.
And that'll be good to know. But it's that kind of need. stored a little food for people that needed it. Then they had more people that needed more food. They stored more food.
Right.
And now we just have a huge food pantry. And especially now, it's been more active, obviously, than normal. So where those gaps happen, we try to step up and be able to fill the gap. We don't want to duplicate services that somebody else already provides because we just don't,
Right.
But we do want to not have people go with unmet needs.
Yes.
I think it's been 5 years now, 4 years, since we added the Veterans Assistance Program,
right.
which is just very, it doesn't serve a huge population of people, but it provides them with things that they can't get anywhere else. That's, I think, what Mission Grand Prairie does.
Very good.
It's just we are a service agency. The people that work here have servants' hearts because you couldn't really do this work without it.
I'm hearing and I really appreciate this openness to really listening to the needs of the community and reflecting upon what's needed. I think one of the things that churches struggle with, not our church, of course, but we get ideas about things that we want to do. And it may or may not be the thing that is most needed.
Exactly.
Right. And so we're constantly working on that, on reminding ourselves of the importance of listening and just being open to what the needs of the community are. And they may be different this year than they were last year, too. So I really appreciate that open-heartedness.
I think every year we see it. When winter starts to roll around, every little group in town, including children's classrooms, want to do something. So they want to have a sock drive or a coat drive. And we may have more socks than we could ever distribute, but be desperate for stocking hats or mittens. And so I really, when I go and speak to churches, I really try to stress to them, please call us, because sometimes we have a very minor, it would be minor for them to do, but major for us to fill a need. It's a major need. And it's usually not socks. But sometimes it is. So
could be.
It's just good to always check and see what the needs are. And we really have to do that same thing. We have to take a step back because for the first couple of years I was here, people would wheel stuff in the front door and we would just have tons of things that we couldn't, it was not efficient.
Right.
So we really work to try to make sure that we listen to what all the needs are in the community.
Yeah, thank you. What are you most concerned about right now as you look out at our community? What needs feel most urgent and pressing to you?
We have a couple of needs, and I know that your congregation has had a soft spot for the shelter. And the shelter, I think, is going to need a little more maybe focus and possibly cost the kids. And I say that because isolation has made it difficult to be hands-on in terms of care. The shelter is, as your congregation I think knows, but it's 7 bedrooms that house 4 each. But there are really only 5 bathrooms because the rooms share a bathroom, except for one of them is a disability, and so it's got a private bathroom. Guidelines tell us that we cannot have families sharing bathrooms, and I expect that's probably going to go to the end of the year. So now our capacity, which used to be 28, is actually, I think we figured it to be 16, because we can assign 4 bathrooms. So we assign a bathroom instead of bedroom. So our population is smaller, but they're more isolated. We have to keep them more isolated. They used to have communal meals, and now they don't. Now they have to make their own meals. What I see and what my dream for these people that are staying there is to be able to have some kind of group or some, the churches, different groups who would be willing to help them with activities on a weekend.
Mhm.
We can't let them go a lot of places. And even if we could, there's not that many places for them to go. Some of them don't have vehicles.
Mhm.
So they're, along with the emotional trauma that goes along with where they've come from in the middle of a pandemic, is now they're really isolated in an unfamiliar place with nothing to do. So I would love to be able to say, I guess my dream, and we've talked here about it many times, is to be able to get some kind of, even if it was just every other weekend, some activity.
Mhm.
We focus so much on the women, and we have so many resources for them. We have nothing for the children there. And they're the most vulnerable in that package. We really need some kind of, like, even if it was craft activities, anything that could be something they could look forward to on a weekend for a couple of hours, to have somebody come in and just do an activity with them would be so earth shattering.
Yes.
Because they're in a strange place. They don't have the people that are around them. Half of them aren't even from here. And we're working really hard to help their mom get everything she needs from, counseling and all the services available. But we need more for our children, where they have some really good, calm, loving hearts that come in and show them that they, that somebody cares.
Yes.
I think sometimes they feel kind of like just a tag along. And I really don't have. We try, to give them things to do, but they need someone to come in and really do something organized. So that's one.
Comes back to that same point about dignity, right? Just wanting them to feel empowered and important.
Like somebody cares about them too.
Yeah.
The moms get a lot of support, because there are a lot of really gentle hearts in this community that want these women to know that they can move forward.
Yes.
But we forget that children so often, they need to know that their life is going to be okay. That I'm a good example of that. You can make it. We need for them to know that. Then they need to know somebody cares, and somebody that they just feel like, they're there just for them.
Yes.
So that's one major concern.
And we know, by the way, that we all have to be very careful about working with these kids, and understanding that there are challenges with as far as people knowing where the facility is, where the kids are, how to enter and exit the facility. All these kinds of things are important. Pictures. So if people want to help with what you just talked about, do we contact Mission Granbury here as a starting point?
Yes, you never go there first. That's how we lose confidentiality.
Yes.
That's the easiest way.
It's the word I was looking for. Confidentiality.
Yeah. Confidentiality is paramount. So it's the best work you'll ever do in private and secret.
Yes.
Because you don't ever share anything about it at all. It's amazing how just the mention of a child's behavior sometimes can resonate with someone who might know someone who knows that person. I mean, we have some of our clients are actually from here, so that is really important. But yes, you would call here and talk to Betty Moss, and she's our volunteer coordinator, and she knows. I mean, she can get them all lined out, and even if we even have a process for, like, if there's a group of women that wanted to go and do something, there's like it's sort of a group qualifying where she does like a little brief training to help them understand that, what their responsibilities are in terms of confidentiality.
Well, we know Betty. That's good. We can give her a call.
Yeah, she's good. She knows what she's doing.
Good.
So that's one of the things I think on that side, is just that human contact with people, so that they know that their whole world has kind of fallen apart. So just having people there to help shore them up is great, and give them something to occupy their minds.
Yes.
That's just really neat.
Yes.
I think the other area that I really see, and I guess we're all going to be focused on, is making sure that the kids get fed.
Mm-hmm.
It probably sounds crazy, but we were talking this morning. We were planning how many more weeks we have. And your church knows because you've put together the weekend bags. It sounds like a simple thing, and it is not simple. I mean, it takes a lot of planning and a lot of money and, getting it all together. And I think going forward, we're going to, I worry that after the they go back to school that they're not going to go back to school the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess I'm not, I hate to use the word worry. I'm concerned that our new normal is going to be a little different,
Mm-hmm.
probably a lot different
Mm-hmm.
than what it was. And
Mm-hmm.
that we all need to be aware of that as we go forward, we may have a lot of children that need food over the weekend, where in the past we did 90 bags
Mm-hmm.
a week, and we're doing 350 now.
Wow.
So I don't know if that'll continue when school starts or not.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many people are able to go back to work. I think the next 60 days, I said a month ago, I thought it'd be 90 days before we saw the maybe what's going to happen here,
Mm-hmm.
or the impact that COVID has had on our community. And I still feel that way. I think we're looking at the end of the summer before we know how many people are able to go back to work at the same level that they were before.
Right.
And who now find themselves, their stimulus checks are gone, and their unemployment supplements are running out. So now they have to actually live on either their unemployment or what they're able to earn from work. They may be able to find a job, but maybe not at the same pay scale they did before.
Right.
So I think that's going to be a concern going forward, is making sure that our families don't fall apart.
Okay.
And making sure that if people are having issues, that they know they can come here. We were blessed. United Co-op provided us with a grant to help pay electrical, rent, water. We didn't pay anything out of it for their customers. And fortunately, a lot of our clients are with that company.
Good.
Their members.
That's wonderful.
Yeah, that's been a real blessing. So we have a little bit of extra money to be able to help than we've had in the past.
Okay.
So making sure people know where to go. But then I think all of us just need to be aware that it's probably going to look different.
Yes.
Here in the next probably year. I think we're looking at a year before we know.
Yeah.
And even when we do recover, honestly, I think we will deliver services differently here. Our food pantry is drive-through now, and I think it'll stay that way.
Mm-hmm.
It's more efficient. There's less congestion.
Mm-hmm.
We still can see the people, but there's less chance of contamination of any kind.
Mm-hmm.
So we've made some changes to the way we do things here. Our case managers only see new clients the first time in person, and everything else is done either by Zoom or email.
Okay.
So we've changed the way we do things, but it seems to be working.
Okay.
It's just, I want to make sure people know that we're still, they can still come here and we will still help them, even though they may not be able to get in the front door.
Yes.
It's open now, but we had to close it for a while, and we may have to again if it happens.
Sure. Okay. All right. Well, you are doing a lot, and we appreciate that. And there are a lot of good people in this community, and we will continue to do our best to listen. Thank you for reminding us and keeping us informed as far as what's needed, what's most important. Tell us this. Tell us a story. Tell us a story of hope. Tell us a story of something that you have seen that has made you think, I am glad I have this job and there is hope for this world.
Oh my gosh, there have been so many. I think I love more than anything when little children take the time to write us a letter. So I've gotten several, and one of them was just was adorable. And in fact, I used to keep it pinned to my wall because I wanted to remind myself, because she said, "Thank you for making our life better, for saving our life. Thank you for saving our life." But there was a story that I think it did really make me glad that Mission Granbury was here. During the food crisis that we had, we learned that some seniors were not getting, couldn't get on Meals on Wheels. And so they were sending them here. And one of them was a woman who and so we just delivered groceries. We didn't deliver hot meals, but we started a senior food delivery, which is another program we'll probably keep, or we will keep. And one of the people that was delivering the meals was one of our city councilmen, Trish Reiner, was volunteering to help us deliver senior meals. So she went to deliver that meal to the lady, and the lady said, "I need to see if you'll deliver some food to the guy next door, because he doesn't," she said, "I'm making him food and taking it to him at night because I know he doesn't have any money and he doesn't have any food, and I don't think he has any water because he's bringing me the dishes back, but they've not been washed." And she said, I don't want to ask him. And so Trish said, "Well, I'll call him." And the lady said, "Well, he doesn't have a phone either."
Right.
So she told the lady to call here, and she did. The neighbor called us, and I took the call, and she explained to me, and I said, "Can you get him can you use your phone? Can you call from his house and let me talk to him?" So I did, and we found out that he was a veteran, a Vietnam veteran. He had no water and no electricity. He had lost his job when the company he worked for sold out to a foreign company. So he lost his job. He started drawing his retirement about 2 years ago. It ran out. He was just trying to live on that. He ran out of his retirement. He didn't have a computer. He didn't have a phone. His car had broken down. His retirement stopped, so he had no money, no phone, no utilities, and he was behind on his property taxes. He didn't own his home. When I talked to him on the phone, I said, "We can help you." He was a United Co-op member. So we were able to use some congregational funds to pay a water bill. We just had to pay to have it reconnected. They waived the deposit. So we paid to have it reconnected. We paid his utility bill and got his utilities on. We took him groceries. We had been taking him groceries for a couple of weeks by the time we were able to do this. We took him a small phone, a track phone, so that we could call him and make sure he was okay. He was able to get his car fixed and was looking for a part-time job, and had signed up for his Social Security, which he couldn't do because he didn't have a phone or a computer or anything. So he was just there, and thank goodness his neighbor said something. He never heard of Mission Granbury. He was mortified to admit that he was living the way he was. He was walking 1.5 miles with gallons of water to fill up with water for a quarter. He was, it was just, I think when we finally got everything on, and I sent our veteran service guy out there to check on him, and he was so happy. He was just his whole world just changed. So he was able to get his Social Security signed up for. We were able to get someone to help him with his utilities for 2 months, so that he had time for that to start, and he could get, he had the parts for his car. Someone went over to help him fix it so he could get around. That's community, coming together, making a difference in one guy's life that was incredible. Yeah. I mean, I shudder to think where he would be here 2 months later if this one person hadn't said something. And thank goodness it was Trish, because anyone that knows her knows that she's pretty not, I wouldn't say outspoken, but she's going to get stuff done.
Yes.
And she wasn't going to let him just sit there and have nothing done.
Yes.
So she was able to get him connected to us. So
There's a word that's coming to mind for me right now. We're in the middle of a sermon series right now on resurrection, and you just told a story of resurrection.
it was amazing. That was the story out of all the pandemic. I told the staff, if we can be happy about anything, this one client has shown us how much we can help somebody.
Yes.
We really did make a difference in his life. And so then you've done something. To go home every night, no matter what time it is, if you're really tired, you really don't care. Because you did something really good.
That's right. And Dusty, there is somebody else in this community as desperate as that.
They are. They're out there.
And that is our shared call, isn't it? To find.
We can help people. We just have to know where they are and they have to let us know what they need. And we'll do all kinds of, our case managers, they are think out of the box, creative people. I mean, they pull different strings to get car parts and things to try to get people to help. We have great ministries in this community too. We have a ministry called Good Samaritan Auto. He's wonderful. He fixes cars for a lot of the ladies at the shelter. He fixes our cars. We don't drive anything until he looks at it first. So it's
I might need this guy's card.
Yeah, he is great. So I think just we need to be. This community has no idea how blessed it is. And I've worked in a lot of communities where they really have good hearts, but this community doesn't stop there. It just keeps going.
Yes.
It does something about it. I don't think. It's a great community.
Yes. Dusty, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for what you do, for being you.
We love doing it.
Yeah, and thank you so much for your time with
Sure.
us today. We really appreciate it.
Sure.
And we will be in touch. I think we want you to know that we want to be one of those congregations that you feel you can call on.
I do. I saved you for special things.
Good. If there is an urgent need, don't hesitate to call and just say, we really need a church to do this, and we will do everything we can.
I appreciate it. I know there's lots of good people in this community, but by the way, it was great working with you with the food thing, because that was I really did depend on, a lot of our congregations, but I really did enjoy working with you.
I appreciate that, and I would defer that thanks to Ray Gaddy in particular, and to some other folks in our congregation that have a real passion for that ministry and stepped up and did everything.
That's something good we do.
Ray is one of those guys. You talk about people that would go to Fort Worth. He has made I don't know how many trips to Costco and Fort Worth to pick up supplies and things and bring them back. So
it's amazing. We would come to work, and there would be. In fact, they called me one weekend and said. They came down I can't remember, the alarm went off. And so they called me and one of the staff, and they said, there is so much food on the front porch. So they had to open up and get somebody to help them move it all in. But it was a bounty. It was wonderful.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great.
Well, thank you, Dusty, so much. And we will be in touch, and please be in touch with us. And we look forward to continuing to work with you.
Okay, let anybody wants to know anything about this shelter and how they can help, tell them to call Betty.
Okay.
That's a real pet project of mine. I really think we need to get
Very good. Well, I like that idea. We will work on that.
Okay.
God bless you, friends. Thank you for clicking in today, and we appreciate you. God bless you.
Awesome.
All right.